Today, we're speaking with Sunil Bhaskaran. Road mapping your journey to success is our topic today. He is the founder of Global Small Business School and his own private business.
Everyone has their own path to discover. So sometimes people get overwhelmed because they feel like they gotta follow on someone else's path or that they can't measure up. Sometimes it's the other way around, that they know they're better than other people. That path is unique. And all of that can be kind of overwhelming. And the assurance is that you really should design your own path and start with first basics of where you want to go and where you're at right now.
Today, we are speaking with Sunil Bhaskaran. Road mapping your journey to success is our topic today. He is the founder of Global Small Business School and his own private business. Sunil is a globally recognized speaker, trainer, educator, and author. He brings 30 plus years of building and implementing successful business plans to entrepreneurs, small business owners, and companies worldwide. He is the author of More Money, More Time, Less Stress, and The Forgiving Universe. You can get that on Amazon. Sunil effortlessly blends his business and technology and academic background to mentor business owners and help them take their ventures into new solvent heights. His expertise includes leadership, sales, marketing, and global business, and insightful creativity. Having owned and run several businesses, Sunil speaks, trains, mentors, and his own real life experience. He is a mentor. He began coaching and training others in 1986 and has been in high demand as a mentor. Private coaching and keynote speaker for more than 20 years. His systematic escalator program uses brain science and has made a profound difference in the bottom line of thousands of business people through the world. Excuse me. All his workshops provide tangible skills and tools for life. So I'd really like to talk a little bit more about there's some background in your leadership and diversity, your accountability training. I really love that. Companies that you've worked for like Cisco, Comerica Bank, and many, many others. I really love your multifaceted approach to business through your knowledge of science, economic literature, cognitive neuroscience and innovative insights. I just love that and how you bring that together. So welcome, Sunil, and welcome to the show. So I'd love to hear more about your company and what you're up to.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here in your show. And it's just a delight to be able to share all of this for all you lovely people out there.
Great. Wonderful. So tell us, I want to know about your business school. I want to know about your programs. Like, what are you really helping, and how can you really help women really step into their own sovereignty, their own empowerment, and how they can really take these things on and not feel overwhelmed or,
Well, it's I want to first start off with a assurance that everyone can find their way, and everyone has it's almost contrite to say this, but it's like it's trite to say this, but everyone has their own path to discover. So sometimes people get overwhelmed because they feel like they gotta follow on someone else's path or that they can't measure up, or sometimes it's the other way around, that they know they're better than other people, and that path is unique. And all of that can be kind of overwhelming. And the assurance is that you really should design your own path and start with first basics of where you want to go and where you're at right now. Because if you don't know where you're at right now, where you want to go, it's kind of like all's lost.
Right. So
Um,
is that something that you help people with? Like, I mean,
yeah,
or do they have to kind of know what they're doing before they show up?
no, they don't have to. And the truth is, nobody really knows where do you, the truth is most people don't really know who they are, nor where do you want to go. Some of the toughest questions to ask is, where do you really want to go?
Yeah.
And
Is that part of defining your roadmap?
it's part of defining your roadmap. It's part of uh, also defining your self-expression, which could be one and the same thing. So for example, a woman who wants to start a business, one of the first things to look at is who do you want to serve, which is part of where you want to go, right? Who do you want to serve? And what will you provide for them that's of value, that you have a certain special edge on?
Yeah.
So if you really think it through, these two basic fundamental questions are really good to start. In fact, almost anything you do could be begun with those two questions. The first one is, who do you want to serve? And what would you provide them that you have a certain special edge on? And everybody's got an edge. You just got to look for it, and exceptions could be you just haven't been out there and experienced life enough. It's can be true for younger women, for example. But even for younger women, I'm talking about women, they're 20s, 25, who've come to me, it's always something that where they get lit up by, or that their friends report that they're really good at. Now, you can start with that. And then as you go along your journey, you can refine your future journey all the time.
Yeah.
But it's good to at least start with a starting journey. If you're a ship captain, you want to kind of know where you're going. But this is the metaphor of being a ship captain kind of fails in this aspect, because a lot of people don't know where they want to go yet.
Yeah.
But you got to ship your body, whatever skills you have, your abilities, and it's a matter of just starting out with a rough direction.
Yeah.
You can always make course corrections.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm thinking of also, there are women out there that already are in business and they're already working, or they really want to take it to the next level, and is it like, well, they're thinking, well, I need to build an audience, or, is it a mindset, or is it techniques, or what would you tell a woman that came to you that already has a business at this level, but she wants to be at this level?
Yeah, well, if they're already in business, then they have a rough idea of who they want to serve to. And that may be kind of rough, and they may be uncertain as whether that's the best course, but at least it's a starting point. And they kind of have an idea what they can provide. And if they want to go to the next level, then there are this other question of what gives you that edge becomes crucially important. It's crucial because if you want to get above everybody and go into the top 1%, become what some people call a rock star in your particular business, whether it's financial planning, through being a musician, the key is to look at your audience and what you can provide for them that has that edge. And this becomes intriguing because and there's a reason why I have a lot of confidence in this, because partly because I don't have an answer all the time, and it's good not to have an answer, like a preconceived notion, because it's good to design this from basic principles, understanding your audience, understanding yourself, finding your heart in your game, and finding your soul. And these are kind of different things. Your heart is your emotional part of your business, which has a profit part to it, because if you find a heart in it, in your business where you shine and your audience knows you shine there, and they can't even deny it, then it becomes easier to sell. And it becomes easier to collaborate with other people who see that in you. And believe me, people who are at a higher level or mid-level above you will recognize you right away.
Yeah.
If you do enough of that reflection of yourself, your business, you spend enough time not just trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
Yeah.
But
or be too, I think what I'm hearing you say is like, it's important to not be too cerebral about it. Like, step by step, you must do it. And I think that scares a lot of women sometimes, where it's too masculine, it's too aggressive, it's too, you have to be out there, like I see a lot of women actually resist that aspect of themselves, or women that go extremely in there and they forget about the heart. They forget about that, and they forget that they can design their own business the way they express it.
And this is a problem even in brain science. It's been resolved, interestingly, because brain scientists, any self-respecting brain scientists will tell you that you cannot ignore what we call emotions, which is a language construct, but it's something you deeply feel. People get moved. The word moved comes from being moved into a decision, but what's moving people is not necessarily logic, although it has to be logical some extent. But what moves people into a decision, whether they become a fan of yours or a client, is mostly an emotion or some kind of social trust that they feel around you, which they can't really describe sometimes in words.
Right.
And so you're right. It's actually, if you were to look at it in a archetypical kind of way, it's really a feminine aspect of us as human beings, emotions, etc. I'm not trying to categorize anything, so don't write letters to me. But there's an emotional component to this, which is why I keep reassuring people that you really don't want to get too much into the technology of your marketing.
Yeah.
Or get overwhelmed with what kind of website. Most people waste money and time, and precious time and money, on putting the cart before the horse. You have to think about and consider from your heart, as well as talking to people, feeling out how they make decisions around having you be in their life as a person of business.
I think that sometimes that too is a difficult place to be in. It's like, well, what question do I ask? Especially when you're actually very shy person or personality.
Right. Yeah. But, I mean, I'm an example of an introvert who has become more of an extrovert. It can't change. And there are some fundamentals that still make me an introvert. And I don't think your success is really predicated on your personality type necessarily. I think it's more predicated on who you're being. Being specifically where I'm looking at is how much you pay attention to the future at large, is what I call it. The future at large is your clients, your customers, your fans. Where are you leading them in the future? Which, by the way, is your future too.
Right.
People get compelled by that. And who you're being is really who it's when you're being someone who leads someone to a future. For example, Mahatma Gandhi, Mother Teresa, the list goes on, right? All these great people you think of are great. They all have a future that they keep telling you about. They keep mesmerizing you with. And they realize that at some point in their development as well, that this is their power, that they have a future that people are intrigued by. And if you find that, and believe me, you can, if you look hard enough, almost all of us have something like that. If not, most of us have an endearing quality, even if you're really introverts and shy.
Sure.
There are people in our life that love you, and they find you endearing because there's something inherent in you that speaks to their future that they want to live into.
I think that's the key. You said their future.
It's their future. That's why, real charisma has nothing to do with yourself. It's nothing to do with it has to do that really communicates, but it has to do with you not being so stuck on your agenda with them.
Yeah.
Right. Now, the truth is you will have some agenda, but you're not stuck on it. And they know that. They know you have an agenda. Like everyone knew that Mother Teresa had an agenda, right? Everyone knows that Dalai Lama has an agenda for peace, for something.
Right.
But they also know, in interacting with the Dalai Lama especially, that he's not very attached to it. It's part of his Buddhist religion to not be attached to it. I'm not saying there's any religion that's better than anybody else, by the way, but this thing about not being attached to agenda, but then what are you attached to? You're attached to perhaps their future, the people you're leading. And you see, if they get that, then this whole thing starts unraveling in a very cool way. Unraveling meaning your problem that you have around attracting people, building a business, etc., because people start wanting to gravitate towards you.
Yeah.
Now, you still have to do the work, get out there. You can't just sit at home and magically hope people gravitate towards you. You have to do certain structural things.
Exactly.
Right? But if you start doing the structural things and you have this attitude, you could say, of insisting on generating something for others, namely their future, then beautiful things start happening. And if you really think about it, that's really the key to a business. If you don't have something that leads to a difference in their future, what's the point of having a business? Yeah. Whether it's a product or a service.
Right.
Your product or service makes no difference in their future. Yeah. They'll only buy because they know you, or you cajole them or manipulate them into buying, but they're not going to probably buy from you again.
Yeah. And that's a great spotlight. I think where you've kind of spotlighted what we're talking about as far as like, this is a core value on yourself that you have to really have. Of course, there's all these other levels that come involved in building a business, creating content. I mean, you could go on and on and on. There's levels to everything.
It's overwhelming, but it's finite. But it is overwhelming for most people, and most people start there. They start the doing rather than the being.
Right.
And that's kind of like going against the grain, going against the river. The flow of life is the other way around. It starts with who you're being. Yeah. Okay, do you have something that's attractive to someone in the future, and are you being that? In other words, are you expressing that in your presentations, etc.?
Yeah.
If you be that. If you're being committed, that gives you committed action that give you results. It's not the other way around. You don't wait for the results and then start acting committed and then being committed. It's ridiculous just thinking of that.
Truly.
It's just stupid.
Truly.
But, and I'm not insulting anyone, I'm just telling the truth. The majority of people act like or behave like that. They wait for the result. Oh, okay, now I can start doing more of that. And then, and then I can be happy.
Yeah. Well, I think if everybody looks back in their life, like right now, you guys take a look at how you do life and how you did life. It's like there was always a time that you were being joyful or being something in that thing that attracted all the friends that came right to and want to play with you.
Totally.
That it's that type of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I was an introverted kid because I was much younger than my brothers. Were much older than me, and my brothers were great. Don't get me wrong, but they were much older. So I played by myself. But I had all this vivid imagination of being an airline pilot, and then a plane by itself. I was a plane all of a sudden, and I just had this infectious enthusiasm, and other kids wanted to play with me, which always confused the heck out of me. I didn't understand why.
Right.
And they would come with this young kid, Glenn would come with his mom. His mom would be pleading with me, please, please, please.
Yeah.
Can Glenn come and play with him? This has nothing to do with me being cool. I just had a future I was living into, which is called being a pilot in a plane. And he loved all that because he probably didn't get that much. Right?
Yeah.
And so we played planes, and then we invaded the neighbor's garden, and the dogs were screaming, barking at us, and and we had a gay old time, just sweating and breathing and feeling alive.
Yes.
People want that, you see.
Yeah.
And you gotta learn the art and science of being like that for people.
Well,
Yeah.
to me, what I'm hearing is that, that's really a place of freedom. Like
Totally.
you just were it. You were the plane. You were the pilot. And you were just like, and you allowed yourself to have that. And then stepping into that expression, it just becomes charismatic. It's
Becomes
like,
charismatic.
yeah,
And of course, as you grow older as an adult, you just can't do your airplane thing. You have to put some
exactly.
substance into it.
Well,
Right.
no.
But but people, they like substance and future.
Yeah.
So you got to learn how to put substance and future. Notice none of what I'm saying has to do with you having the perfect website.
Right. Exactly.
I'm starting at basic foundations.
Yeah.
You got to understand what's attractive about you, and then make sure the website in a grounded way, and then make sure your website and all the marketing and promotions and everything else you do, and even if you're in a nonprofit or if you're a mother with a family, kind of like the same thing. You gotta, and mothers understand this after a while. They figure out what makes their children tick.
Yeah.
And then they kind of create a future for the kids. If you eat your food, well, we'll get to watch, your favorite movie again later, right?
Yeah.
But if you take that a step further, it gets more intriguing with the kids, it gets more intriguing with other people as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and it's really that, and you really create this breakthrough mindset, if you can just allow yourself to be and express and flow. And, and I think that's really a good core.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people talk about the breakthrough mindset and shifting your mindset. And God bless them. It's good stuff. It really is. But the mindset stuff really starts with the willingness to embrace this level of complexity around who you're being. Because if you, there's so many nuances as I work with people that are delightful, and it makes them really great. And sometimes they think these are the things that kind of set them back. Like they're kind of quirky, maybe,
Sure.
or they have a weird sense of humor. But they don't realize that a lot of that actually could work. I'm not saying it does. Could work with a little bit of fine tuning. Could work with their audience, and truly express who they are.
Yeah.
In a very comfortable way, and still make a lot of money doing it.
Yeah.
While you're at it.
Yeah. I think I think you hit it right on the head on that too, because how many times have we gone to see a band or whatever, and they just, whoever that quirky person is just, they're themselves, they're just who they're being. And you're just like, oh, I love them. Or they're just so weird that you kind of go, that is so weird. I don't like it.
It doesn't have to be
but
weird.
I love it.
It could be like so normal. You're so normal that you stand out from everybody else.
Yeah. But I mean, as far as a judgment, like someone sitting here going like, oh my God, it's like, well, where am I stopped?
Yeah. And so I hope this is reassuring for people because, it's a different kind of thinking, but it's the kind of thinking that gets to the heart of the matter.
Yeah.
And when you get to the heart of the matter with people, then you can craft structures in business that are more meaningful, but also profitable. Now you can design based on the heart of the matter, rather than design on something that may not be the heart of the matter.
Yeah.
And part of the heart of the matter is people really make emotional decisions, in particular with the kind of future that they want to lead and be led to, which they volunteer for.
Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah. So, it's I think a better approach, and it hopefully more reassuring approach for a lot of your audience. And so, I just had a lady who's a fabulous marketing brand strategist. She is a super creative. And, part of her is very hesitant in showing that because she works with a lot of corporate people, and, corporate people wanted things in a corporate way, in a square box that's nicely packaged in a corporate manner, not in a artistic manner necessarily. And so the question is, how do you get to the heart of the matter with people? And, in doing so, she's eliminated probably 90% of the work that would have wasted her time.
Yeah.
And gotten her now on the order of $20,000 clients versus $500 a month or $500 one-time clients.
Right.
And there's a big difference there.
Yeah.
And I assert very strongly that people are willing to pay that kind of money if they discover your uniqueness, which still leads them to the future that they're looking to get to.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot more to it. I'm not trying to oversimplify it. Well, I am oversimplifying just for the sake of just understanding here.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more nuance to this. And the nuance is where I discover, that's my love, I love discovering what are the nuances about this person and their business that are outside of a model or any kind of dogma that I could come up with in marketing. Because that's when you find the truth about them and what's good about them, and a little bit more complicated. But if we work through that complexity, you can express what's really at the heart of the matter and get more clients.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. So how do you think you could help women in business, or someone that wants to start a business?
Well, specifically depends on where they're at. If they're at the first level, they haven't done a business before, then my advice is to get on my online trainings at the Global Small Business School, which is globalsmallbusinessschool.com.
Mm-hmm.
There are very affordable programs there, and there's some expensive programs there. The most affordable program is $10. It's called Business Networking Wealth Breakthrough. It's really the art and science of being a very good networking person, ability to network and find business in your connections and in the networking events that you go to. I've got 30 years of experience doing this, and I can with a blindfold and nothing else, I can explain to people how to become effective in networking.
Yeah.
And I don't use a blindfold, but in the program, which is totally online, videos, etc., you get to learn that. It's cumulative of about 2 to 3 hours of combined training. You can start, pause, and stop and start again anytime you wish. And it's $10 US dollars. I call it the globally democratic price.
It's great.
Because it's a price we discovered people in Malaysia could pay easily, and you benefit from that. And it's 30 modules, and it's a lot of good real training, short, concise trainings, and you get a certificate at the end. And once you get the certificate, you can come out trainings and practice how to network comfortably, and you can also get more attention from me in terms of referrals, etc. So that's the first level. It's what I would recommend, going to the global school. And there's tons of other programs in there, how to sell, how to do all kinds of stuff.
That's great.
Including time management, which is probably a big problem for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
If you're at the mid-level, you've done 2 years of business or so, you could also start with a Global Small Business School, and possibly my mastermind, which will get you to the next level, where you'll meet other people at the same level you are, maybe slightly higher, probably slightly higher, and you can work with them, but also work with me one-on-one inside of the group setting. So it's not, I don't do one-on-one with you privately, but so it's not one-on-one, sorry. It's done with me present in the group setting, and I coach as well as facilitate other people to help you and collaborate with you. So that's not bad for someone that's at the 2-year level or mid-year level in their business. Someone that's more experienced, who wants to upbrand themselves, they can just reach out to me and have a very creative but very useful and insightful hour or so conversation with me, or it depends, 15-minute to hour conversation with me to discover how they can make that happen for themselves.
Right.
That's more complicated usually because you have more history, you have more future too, because there's more that you want to attain.
Yeah.
And I'll help you fine tune it, put it in structure, and then you can decide if you want to work with me in a more intentional manner.
Great. That sounds awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with us some of your insights. And I know that globalsmallbusinessschool.com, you guys can go there, you can download stuff for affordable, and you can also talk to Sunil via email at Sunil, Sunil, at Chahaya Mind, spelled C-A-H-A.
Actually, you
Nope.
can just do Sunil at sunilbhaskaran.com.
Okay, then
Just
that'll
find
Bhaskaran.
my name here.
Yeah,
And
and that's spelled Bhaskaran.
yeah,
Great, and it'll be down in the chat box too, or not chat box, but it'll be down in the information too. So appreciate it. Well, thank you again for your time. And I think the last question I have for you is, if I could finish that sentence, if I could,
yeah. Oh, if I could, what would I do?
if I could,
If I could, I would like to tour with Paul McCartney and be his finger drummer
I love it.
and rock out with his real drummer, who's a really fabulous drummer. But yeah, I would love to tour with him and quit everything else and just hang out with Paul McCartney and play at different venues every night.
That sounds great. All right, we'll see if we can make that happen.
Well, put in a good word.
All right. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. And thank you, Sunil. I really appreciate your time. Please stay tuned. We'll see you next time and have a great one. Cheers.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.